Hi everyone, my name is Bridget Whalen, and today I would like to share with you why I believe that you should buy secondhand items, whether that's clothing items or electronic devices. So I'm sure many of you have seen or at least heard of the movie Clueless, and the main character Cher is very well known for her fashion sense and this outfit in particular. The actress who actually plays Cher, Alicia Silverstone, advocates for buying secondhand items, especially clothing items. According to Crossroads Style, Alicia Silverstone states, an average American throws away 80 pounds of clothing every year. Our landfills are filled with billions of pounds of textile waste. Buying secondhand is always my go-to. It's economical, chic, and much better for Mama Earth. So that's a lot of textile waste. We might think that we donate most of it, but some actually does end up in the landfill, which is upsetting. It's interesting to see a lot of these celebrities and influencers advocating for this type of recycling. Certain influencers have shared their advocacy for repurposing these items. I understand that an influencer my age, her name is Emma Chamberlain. She is very well known for her thrifting and repurposing of clothing items. So I believe you should buy secondhand items because it's more affordable, it's beneficial to our environment, it supports businesses, and it's also fashionable. So first, I'd like to introduce the affordability aspect. A lot of us are in school, we're in college, we're working a lot of hours. We don't have a lot of money to spend outside of our what's necessary. So when we're buying secondhand, we're saving money in the long run, whether that's technology. A lot of us need maybe laptops, we need headphones, whatever the case might be. A lot of us are working, we might need certain clothing that is required by our workplaces, certain work uniforms. It's always beneficial to have that alternative instead of buying brand new things. And a new amped up wardrobe just to spice things up. So I use an example. A lot of us, like I said, are in need of laptops, and I used a MacBook Air just because of the price. So a brand new standard base model MacBook Air was purchased directly from the Apple Store. It's $999, the starting price, without taxes or Apple Care. And a used recent MacBook Air for sale on the selling service Mercari is actually a lot cheaper. It's running at $350 and in fair condition. So you can see the big difference, and it's a much cheaper alternative. In addition, buying secondhand is sustainable, and purchasing the secondhand items is keeping things out of landfills. It's repurposing items. So you might have heard the saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. I know that's very dad joke like, but it's true. If you find something that you really would like, you're taking something that someone threw away and you're repurposing it to your liking. You're keeping it out of landfills. But you're saying no to fast fashion in the long run. You're saying no to large businesses. When you buy a product directly from one of these large businesses, you're telling them that you want more. You're telling them that, hey, I'm going to buy this, so that means you should make another one. You're keeping items out of landfills, as I already said. And this goes hand in hand with reducing the unnecessary consumption of resources, considering producing a lot of garments, a lot of clothing. It consumes a lot of our water supply and a lot of our resources, which I'll touch on later. So I'm sure many of you have heard of the fast fashion industry. I mean, this is big corporations like Kohl's. We have, J.C. Penney's, online alternatives such as like Shein, Romwe, just terrible for our environment. And so I'd just like to introduce to you the certain effects that this, this industry has on our environment.
Fashion is a $1 trillion industry, and according to the UN, it is also the second biggest polluter. Around 500,000 tons of microfiber clothing is now being dumped into the ocean every year, the same as 3 million barrels of oil. Even in the average household, RAP estimates that the amount of new clothing bought by one family in a year gives off the same amount of emissions as driving a car for 6,000 miles. And to make, it takes enough water to fill 1,000 bathtubs. Our love of clothes is also contributing to plastic pollution, with one washload of polyester clothes sending up to 700,000 microplastic fibers back into the environment.
So that's a significant amount of, waste we're putting back into our environment. It's not healthy. And because of this, it's affecting the people who rely on their environments, such as you and I. So when producing new clothing, it requires so much energy and so many resources, as I already said, I know 1,000,000 times. But according to Sustain Your Style, an organization offering sustainable fashion alternatives, states that in many developing countries where textiles are produced, untreated wastewater is dumped into rivers and streams. This untreated wastewater, like I said, affects everyone. It affects every single person who relies on, this water to sustain their living. So soil degradation and desertification. When producing cotton, a lot of harsh chemicals are used, which breaks down the soil, not good for the environment. Water pollution, like I said, this untreated wastewater is being dumped into rivers and streams, not good for the environment. It's affecting aquatic life and human life. Water consumption, the dyes used in clothing and the cotton, the water that cotton needs to grow, it's a lot of water that needs to be used for that process. So microfibers in our oceans, in the video you saw the synthetic fibers, the polyester, it once we put those polyester filled clothing items into the wash, they release these fibers back into our water supply, and they end up in our oceans. Waste accumulation, like Alicia Silverstone said, a lot of the clothes end up in landfills, and it's not healthy for the environment. Chemicals addiction, like I said, a lot of the cotton that is grown to be used for the textile industry is not good for the environment, as well as for you and I, because we're wearing the clothing with the chemical waste, the chemicals that are used to produce that cotton. Greenhouse gases emissions, this goes with any factory. Any factory is going to produce a lot of waste into the air. And rainforest destruction, a lot of the textiles that you and I might wear, like such as rayon, it comes from these trees are being cut down to be produced into fabric. So you might be wondering, what's in wastewater? Wastewater is consisted of many harmful substances that, like I said, can harm aquatic life. It can affect the amount of light that's let into the water. It's overall just terrible for the environment and for the people who rely on this water for drinking, for washing their clothes, for doing whatever. It contains substances such as mercury, arsenic, lead, and in any murder documentary, you can see that some people are killed by these exact substances. Not good for the human body. And here, I also just included some pictures or some demographics. So we have 90% of wastewaters in developing countries is discharged into rivers without treatment, such as India. You see how polluted India is because they're still a developing country. 2,000 tons of dyes are lost to effluents each year. Effluents, just sewage or wastewater. And 20% of industrial water pollution comes from textile treatment and dyeing. It's unfortunate, and hopefully with this presentation, I can convince you to change the way you view purchasing clothing and secondhand items. So buying secondhand items also supports businesses. Buying secondhand allows the store or person from whom you're purchasing an item to repurpose an item while earning a profit in the process. So if you're supporting a local business that is selling you a product, you're giving them your money instead of giving these large corporations money. You're telling them that you like their business, but not these large businesses. If I buy a used laptop from my friend, you're giving them your money. You're giving them money to support them. And in return, you're getting a used laptop that is kept out of landfills, that is kept out of, being wasted. By doing so, you're supporting an individual store or person rather than the large company who originally sold the item. If you're buying directly from a large company, you're telling them, hey, I like your product and you should produce another one. Supply and demand, it goes hand in hand. So fashionable. I'd like to introduce you to you also this fashionable aspect of buying secondhand. So my experience with secondhand items, I bought an Apple Watch. It was used. It didn't have any of the original packaging that would come with Apple products, the box, the plastic. So it was interesting. And also it was in good condition, and it has lasted me like 3 years now. So I got it at a fraction of the original price, and I got it from a very, amazing seller, and I supported him. He supported me with a brand new Apple Watch, or a used Apple Watch, but it was almost brand new because it was in great condition. Everything you buy has a story to it. Every pair of jeans, every pair of, even a brand new jacket, or even a used jacket, even a brand new, like, it's always in good condition. Whenever you buy something that is secondhand, it tends to be in good condition. And when I say brand new, I'm just saying brand new, meaning it's brand new to you. It's brand new the way you're using it. It's going to be brand. It's just so amazing to think that everything you buy was somebody else's, but you're using it to your liking, if that makes sense. I'm going to move myself back up here. So if I want you to know anything about anything that I just said, I would just like for you to remember that buying secondhand, it's more affordable, it's sustainable, it supports businesses, and it's fashionable. And my closing statement: one man's sweaty gym shirt might be disgusting to him, but to you, it's priceless. Thank you. How do I stop recording?